After Brexit, the United Kingdom will simply have to create its own terms of trade, and I think it will do so largely through cutting and pasting.
So Nicholas, what are the international trade implications of the Brexit deal?
The international trade implications are potentially very serious, particularly for the United Kingdom. International trade takes place in two ways, either on special terms that give a country's goods and services advantages, reduced costs, saving time, or on general terms, which would be slightly more expensive and taking slightly longer. At the moment, 56% of UK trade takes place on these special terms as a result of its EU membership. So when the UK leaves the EU, it will lose these benefits and will have to find ways of replacing them.
What does Brexit mean for the UK in the World Trade Organization?
In the World Trade Organization, the situation is, I think, relatively straightforward, although with the potential for a few wrinkles. The United Kingdom was one of the original members of the WTO when it was formed in 1995, and so it continues to be a full member of the World Trade Organization. Every WTO member has what's called schedules, which set out its particular terms of trade at the World Trade Organization. And at the moment, those terms of trade flow from the European Union's schedules. And after Brexit, the United Kingdom will simply have to create its own terms of trade. And I think it will do so largely through cutting and pasting the terms of trade that it has today. And that, I think, should be, relatively speaking, a straightforward process, although there will be a few areas where it will have to negotiate with trading partners, in particular for agricultural goods.
So why do negotiations on trade take so long?
Well, if you think about all of the goods that you find in the supermarket and in all of the other shops and all of the inputs that go into making goods, all of these things have to be subject to negotiations. Equally, all of the services that you find in the economy, whether it's retail services, distribution services, transport services, financial, all of these things are the subject of separate negotiations. So trade negotiations really reach into every aspect of the economy, and they're subject, each of those areas of the economy is subject to its own chapter in the negotiations. And so you can understand that with something that covers the entire economy, that it takes some time before the sides can reach agreement.
Would the UK look to other trade partners, more precisely the Commonwealth trade partners, for an extra deal?
What's important for the United Kingdom is to make sure that the trade advantages that it enjoys after Brexit are as good as the trade advantages that it enjoys today through its European Union membership. It has a lot of its trade on special terms with the European Union, 44%, and it has another 12% of its trade on special terms with third countries through its European Union membership. That makes up 56% of UK trade on special terms. After Brexit, the United Kingdom will have to try to ensure that as much of its trade is covered by special terms that offer UK goods and services the same competitive terms that they have today. It will be possible for the UK to reach trade agreements with third countries, and there are opportunities there for the UK, in particular perhaps with countries like the United States and Canada, also with countries like Brazil, India, China, as well as other Commonwealth countries like Australia and New Zealand. But of course, markets like Australia and New Zealand are much smaller than the European Union market. And so if we don't, in the UK, if we don't have favorable terms of trade with the European Union, it will be a challenge to make that up with agreements with third countries.
Well, thank you, Nicholas, for joining us in our studio today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And thank you at home for watching. Don't forget, you can catch previous interviews by clicking on our channel. Goodbye for now.